cuts it off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on it.
He missed the pit complete. That is crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield floor. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
Hello viewers and welcome to the LionHeart Racing Series. This is our first broadcast of the series which features the Dallara IndyCar, the DW12. We are at Auto Club Speedway, also known as Fontana in Southern California. And we are broadcasting season 1 finale and we're bringing it to you live on the Global Sim Racing channel. I am Richard Losper, and joining me in the broadcast booth is Sean Ambrose and Evan Pisocco. Our director is Kevin Brown, and we use camera sets provided by Camera Guru Dougie Beard. Sean, tell the viewers a little bit about this track.
Yeah, well, thank you, Richard, and welcome to beautiful Fontana, California, where it's always sunny. Here at Auto Club Speedway, known somewhat as a clone of Michigan International Speedway, I honestly think this track might be a little bit wider. High banked oval, turns 2 and 3 are tighter than 1, and 4 due to greater having a greater curve radius in front of the pits. It is a little bumpy in this DW12 around this track, so you got to watch yourself. Today's race is going to be 125 laps or a 90-minute time limit. And based on some of the practice sessions I've seen, to be honest with you, I think we'll beat that time limit. They're going to get around here pretty quick. This league does require a minimum C-Class license. They're going to go off with a rolling start, double file, single file restarts. So that should kind of keep it clean here under the restarts. They are running a fixed setup. Everybody's running the same setup created by the league. 100% fuel, so they'll start off heavy and those cars will start to definitely loosen up a little bit as that fuel starts to wear off. And they got to have at least one pit stop during this race. So when that's going to be, I guess we'll wait for the caution flag or when these guys start to get really light. And they do get one fast repair. So it's going to be important that they keep it clean today and off that wall, which is going to be tough at 220 miles an hour. If you get out of that groove, that car really wants to go up there, and it's really tough to come down off of it if you get there. So that's the report here from Fontana. We're just about ready to go.
Well, guys, thank you, Sean. We have about only 1 minute of qualifying, so we'll get through this really quickly. Evan, just quickly, the championship standings. The top 10 at the moment, Richard Bear in the lead.
He sits at the top of the pile with 1 race to go, and he has an 11-point gap over Jesse Vincent, who is in second. Rick Music is third. He's 15 back from the top spot, and then you got about 29 back to Dano Brookins. From there on, 5th plus with Anthony Lurcock. They're about 80 points plus out of this championship battle. So the top 4 spots still have a mathematical shot, but Richard Bear's got to like how he's rolling into this one with, and the big stats you got to look at there with 15 races through, tonight being race 16. 10 top 5s and 11 top 10s on the half of Richard Bear. That's what's got him up front. Don't forget 4 wins for him, 5 for Vincent. So you got those powerhouse guys up at the front of the field. And Sean, you touched on the fact that it's 125 laps tonight. You're going to have to survive that distance. It is going to be a long race. It has the possibility to show some carnage. It also equally has the possibility to show a lot of green flag racing. So we'll have to see who is alive when we get down to about 25 laps to go. And that's when that championship picture is going to get real interesting.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Evan. Well, it's not only all about the points there, Evan. They do have some bonus points. Leading a lap will get you 1 point. Leading the most laps will get you another. And, of course, a win gives you an extra bonus of 3 points. However, there are penalties as well. So it's the calculation is quite tricky, and we won't know at the end of the race immediately who has won. But I do notice now everyone is starting to grid up. And right at the top of the grid there, we best go through this grid. So why don't you start us off there, Evan?
Pole position is going to go to the number 98. He has to make up 11 points tonight, and he'll start for the best spot that he can. Jesse Vincent, pole position, a 32.323. How about that number, 32323? He'll be up top and exactly identically tied with Dano Brookins, who's going to be starting in second, so that means that differential goes into about the tens of thousands of seconds that we actually can't see from inside the sim. So that front row is so closely, tightly packed. John Downing going to be starting in third, fourth to Richard Bear, Rick Music in fifth position. All those guys championship drivers. Then you got Joe Hassard in sixth position, seventh to Chris Lanini, Tony Lurcock in seventh, eighth position actually to Tony. There it is. Trevor Malone is ninth position, and David Hagen's going to round out the top 10.
Thanks once again. So, Sean, why don't you continue on from there?
Sure. One of the league administrators, Jorge Anzaldo, is going to be 11th in a number 6. Bradley Walters in a number 62, starting in 12th there on the outside. Doyle Lawrence in the number 21, starting in 13. Jeremy Geringer in the 99, starting in 14th. In the 84, Brent Cummings, starting in 15th. Jason Bunch in the number 24, starting in 16th. Krista Nelson, number 25, starting in 17th place. Sam Catacosinos starting in 18th there, and the number 12, Michael Gray in the number 27 starting in 19th, and in 20th, rounding out the top 20 here, Vern Hawkins, number 29, starting in 20th place. Richard, give us the rest of the field.
Yeah, rounding out the rest of the field, Corey Connor, David Vieira, Christopher Paul, Rudy Avalon, Michael Whitman, Robert Bluin, Vincent Bluthenthal, Drew Motz. Now, I think that's the last of the drivers. There might be another one, Thomas Engel, but you have guys who have not registered times. I take it those may well be the server admins. They are on the pace lap at the moment, Evan. This is going to be very, very exciting. I know that you have raced one race in this series, so you will have the honor of calling the start for us. Take it away.
Well, I was able to get a top 10 in the first one, and we're up here in the booth for the final one. We're going to decide a championship tonight, folks, in Fontana, California. The iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car gets set to dive down to the safety of pit road and unleash 30 machines for tonight's championship race. Jesse Vincent going to be the control car. Pace car is down. He's on the accelerator. We're underway from Auto Club Speedway.
And the green flag has just flown, and it's all bets are off. They start racing, and we see immediately Richard Bear moving into third place there. Richard Bear has it all to lose at this point. He is leading this championship. Sean, how did the rear end of the field start?
You know, Richard, the rear end of the field really spread out real quick. Everybody's kind of in line. A little bit of side-by-side racing, but not much. Everybody just trying to keep it clean. It's like trying to let the race come to them right now here at the back, as we see very little actual racing going on. It looks like we're just trying to settle in and get a long run going here.
Yep, and Rick Music, Rick Music, the big mover on the outside there, moving up from about 5th place, took 4th place, and now he's still on the outside. He's looking to go into 3rd place as we see a slower car up front already of these top 3.
And that's a machine that started from pit road. That's Vincent Bluthenthal. He's actually going to go slow to the apron here so that he is in no way in front of the leaders, and Jesse Vincent is going to be able to easily get around in the top 5 single file for a moment. Again, these guys can make a pass when they want to. It's about being patient, the risk versus reward, and pacing yourself in this race. We're side by side, a little deeper back in the pack with Chris Lanani and Trevor Malone. They're side by side coming off a quarter number 2, but other than that, single file for now in front of them. Got a battle for P3 brewing. To the outside goes Joe Hassard.
And Richard Bear in 5th place at this point. I'm keeping my eye on Richard Bear, the race leader, the championship leader. Big Joe, who we take to be Joe Hassard, is into 4th place already. Rick Music, 3rd in the championship, is now in 3rd place. Dana Brookins in 2nd. This, Sean, this is going to be a cracker of a race, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a really fast race, too, because these guys all look like they've got a pretty good handle on it. Lots of practice this week's gone into this race as it's the championship at stake here. You know, I'm watching this battle back here from like 13th place back to about 21st. Nice little group of what I'm looking at, 9 cars right now, all pretty close to each other. Little 3 wide, little 2 wide, little jockeying back and forth for position. But these guys, I think right here, as long as they can continue to work together, they're going to make that way back towards the front here and be challenging these guys here pretty soon. Oh, and we got a car, a little bit of wall contact there.
Did we see who that was, Sean?
Yeah, I'm going back to it now. I kind of was a little slow to react. Jason Bunch,
I'm hearing.
Yep.
All right. While you have a look for that, we'll get that on replay in a second or two. Just moving forward again, just having a look at the top 8 or so drivers, 2, 3, 6, 8 drivers in front of us, and now we are seeing the replay coming around in just a touch in the wall there, but doesn't look too bad, Sean.
Yeah, he's having to bring that thing to the pits. Actually, looks like he had a tire go down and some front end damage, so he's in. He's going to have to take that fast repair here early in the race, only just laps into this thing.
All right. Well, let's go back to the front where we see the cars 2 wide and momentarily even 3 wide even. So they've got quite a break, the top 8 cars or so, on the rest of the field. And they're racing hard with each other at the moment.
And Joe Hassard's going to move up at a P2 after starting in 6th position. And the key is, again, right now we single file out as this lead pack of about 7 cars has broken away from 8th on back. They have about a second gap. They're all within about 7/10 of each other as Joe actually wants to go for the top spot. And that's the thing. When you're riding in line, it means you're lifting. You can go to the outside whenever you want. It's just about making a smart move. Hassard to the outside. He'll not get a run this time, so he'll have to pull back in behind Jesse Vincent down that back straightaway. And now caution flag to fly. We actually got trouble back in the pack.
Oh, caution flag flying, the first caution of the night.
David
Sean,
Vieira.
your job to keep count of the cautions tonight.
26.
So we are on lap number 8, so a very short green flag sprint, and we're looking at the replay right now. Oh dear, oh dear. Big shunt into the wall there, car over-ended a number of times. Did we see who that was? All I could see was a red car. It's pretty dark.
It was David Vieira at the number 26 car. He had some help going around. One of those situations where the car behind him using the draft looks like he just, went to the inside, and maybe David didn't see him, or maybe a little bit too aggressive for that point in the race by Drew Montz, but he went in and just took out that left rear, and then David went up into the outside wall, caught another car up into the fencing there, which caused most of the damage. He got up into a Robert Blowen, who was up on the outside lane as well. So Robert's going to have to come down pit road, and a couple of cars torn up in that one, and we go to caution flag for the first time tonight, just about 10 laps into this.
Yeah, and David Vieira will be taking a tow to get into the pits. He will have that fast repair. I always say, Sean, that if you're going to have to use up your fast repair, you might as well use it when your car's totally broken, eh?
Yeah, that's definitely a good plan. When she's broken like that, there's really no choice. He's just got to be glad that he had that fast repair available to him, or that would have been end of race.
Yeah, quick explanation for viewers who might not know. The fast repair is you just get a totally new car. It's a feature of the iRacing service. You can set that on or off. Obviously, they've set that on in this particular event and in other events in this series. If a car is broken, you can come into the pits and just get a new car. And that's great. I do quite like that feature, particularly in in a series where the cars are so fast, Evan.
Yeah, and that's to account for racing incidents. There's a lot of leagues, and some they'll give you about 3 quick fixes. Some will give you none, and I think that one's a pretty good number, 1 or 2, because there's a lot of things that are out of your control, and that was almost one of those there for David. Just got run over there from behind. It's early in the race. He wasn't expecting it, and nothing of his fault. So he's able to get that new car. He will lose his lead lap status because he's taking that tow down the pit lane here. So far, he has lost 1 lap. Depending on how far he will get back outfield, may come around and pass him once more. I think the 1 quick fix is a good number. It accounts for some racing incidents. It allows guys to be able to, get back out there, get back in contention without giving them an amount of quick fixes that would allow people to race knowing that they have that quick fix in the back pocket, because that's when people will, make moves that they probably shouldn't at points in the race. So I think 1 quick fix is a good number.
All right. Well, at the moment, the race is being led by Jesse Vincent. We have Joe Hassett. Big Joe is his handle here in the race. In second place now, Sean Joe Hassett sitting 10th in the championship, making a statement here tonight. Donnie Brookins, who is well up in the championship, 4th place, he is up to 3rd at this stage before the restart. Lights are still on the pace car, will remain on for at least now they go off. So we're on the last lap before the restart. So as I was saying, Sean, Big Joe making a statement here tonight.
Yeah, well, he may not have a shot at the championship, but it would sure be nice to go out on a win. I do like the single file restart, as that tends to keep guys a little more honest, and you have a less of a chance of mixing it up. And well, we always use that old adage that cautions breed cautions, but sometimes when you have these single file restarts, I think you wind up with a little better brand of racing, and especially with these Indy cars where the closing rate is so incredibly fast. It is nice to see him space out a little bit, and hopefully here after this caution, this early caution on lap 8, now getting ready to start on lap 12, that we can get a nice green flag run in here now.
Correct, and they are, as you said, on lap 11. They will restart on lap number 12, a single file. They're coming around the last turn at the moment. So take it away, Evan.
It's going to be a lap 12 restart. Jesse Vincent still going to be on the top spot, but again, you guys were talking about it. Watch out for Joe Hassard. Big mover so far, started back and forth. He'll be starting in P2. Single file this time at a 4th. The lights back off at a pace car, and that machine going to drop down to the safety of pit road. Vincent going to be in control of the field. Pace car gone, and he's on it right away. Green flag back at the air, and we're underway. And because, again, that single file restart procedure, this field really going to stretch out down the front.
Yes, and they don't seem to hang around waiting for the green flag. I think that's good. These cars are so fast that they can, Sean, if you slow the start down, you could find somebody piling into you from the rear. So we've got the top 2, 4, 6 cars pretty much trying to break away. I'm getting some information. Sorry, say again. There's a change for the lead. We are hearing Dano Brookins, Big Joe, making his move towards the front there, coming side by side with Jesse Vincent, but Jesse Vincent holding on. So not quite a change for the lead just yet, but certainly a good attempt there. And let's go and have a look at the rear of the field there with Sean Ambrose. Sean?
Yeah, and this nice little battle that we had going on from about position 13 on back is still holding the form here, as we've got these guys here battling pretty well and keeping them close together. Starting to see a little bit of 3-wide racing. Some of these guys came in, got fresh tires, some of them didn't, but right now everybody's staying in line and just kind of behaving themselves right now. I don't think anybody wants to get another caution here right yet, so we'll let them settle down and see how this thing progresses.
Well, guys, in lap number 14, 125, a long race. I did some calculations. It looks we have more information there. Oh my good grief! Cars everywhere at this point. They'll bring out another caution, Evan.
Yeah, the number 99 car had a couple of tumbles there in 3 and 4, went up and over. He had some contact in a big group that went down at a quarter. Number 3, it looks like one machine just slid up and made contact with the 99. The 99 looks like he got turned after the 12 machine got slid up into him, and the 99 tried to save it, got run over from behind. There was no opportunity for Christopher Poole to react to that one. The 601 got into the back of the 99, sent him around, and then when that number 99 car slid up the hill, made contact with another machine there. Again, nowhere to go for Jason Bunch. Bunch got into it, and those guys went for a wild ride. Everybody was able to duck down to the apron, get down to the grass, and avoid that one. And actually, somebody came flying through there and made contact, trying to confirm. No, wow, we need to get it on board with, who is that? Is that Drew Motz? Went right underneath that car in front of him. That must have been an entertaining view from the viewpoint of that 45 machine.
Well, I tell you what, these guys, when you actually have an accident, it seems to me the car goes into all kinds of acrobatics. I have not, they don't just slide along as the much heavier cars. These cars are fairly light for the power that they have, Sean. So if they get hit, they start a tumbling or even a bit of low flying.
Yeah, they will. You just said it. They will fly for sure. And I was just watching that replay, and poor Jason Bunch back there riding in 28th, kind of minding his own business, just trying to settle down and, get a good run in, and he just had nowhere to go. Runs right into the 99, and now he is disconnected and done for the night.
Yeah, that's disappointing for him, no doubt. These other guys will have to get toes and get into the pits and get some new cars. So the second caution goes down, and Jesse Vincent still hanging on to that number 1 place in this race, Evan. The pace car is out there. He's traveling nice and sedately behind the pace car. Big Joe Hassett just behind him. These were the 2 leaders in that little stint. Not sure what's going on here. Is this normal or not? We haven't broadcast or even had a good look at any of their other races, so not quite sure, Evan, if this is par for the course or if this is something unusual, these cautions that has happened.
One thing that I noticed when you look at the schedule is that the first 8 races or so, which technically the first 4 races, had 2 splits in them, and that was when the league started, and that's when I was able to run in the season opener and the top split and get that top 10 finish here back quite a while ago. It actually feels like at Michigan. So they've really cycled down and they've trimmed down the field here to really a core group of guys. And I was talking to George earlier in the day here about what he thinks this league is going to be in the future, and he's very optimistic and he's very happy on what they've had so far in their season. And it's just Auto Club Speedway. We're on lap 17. We're 2 yellows into this thing. There could easily be more. At the same time, there could be easily less. You can ride single file if you're going about half throttle. You can make passes, and it's so hard to try to restrict yourself as a driver, knowing that this is 125 laps. You tell yourself, okay, I'll go out there and take it easy. But because of these single file restarts, the field is so spread out that you want to make up as many positions as you can in such little amount of time, so that if a caution flag were to fly, you'll be up a couple spots and you can continue to try to march your way through the field, because if you're sitting still, it means you're getting passed.
That is true. Also, I believe the reaction time that you have when an incident is happening in front of you or around you is so little. It's split seconds because of the speed that this car generates. 220 miles per hour, Sean. You don't have a lot of time to react. Hey.
No, there's really no time at all. I mean, really, things come up so quick, and it's like I was talking about in the pre-race. If you're not down in that groove and that car starts to drift up the banking on you, I mean, good luck saving that thing. You really got to get on the binders, and we're going green. Here we go, guys.
While we were talking, Jesse Vincent takes them away. Big Joe flying up behind him. And in 3rd place, Daniel Brookins, I should say. Trevor Malone in 4th place. So we've got 2 little groups there. Then we go back to Rick Music trying to latch on to Trevor Malone at this point in time. And doing that successfully, side by side up front at the moment, Evan.
Yeah, Joe's been looking to the outside a couple times here, also off of the first caution, but when you're in 2nd place, it's actually really hard to pass considering all the draft you have. These guys start on back, they're going to be able to get up to our leaders and try to put a move on, but when you're up front, as long as you're that leader, just hug that bottom and you should be okay. You're going to get in risk of losing that position when it gets down to the end here and we have a big swarm of cars. But you see Joe, he'll duck low, get that draft, jump back out high, but then that big hole in the air that 98 was cutting for him is gone. He hits a wall of air up on the high side, and he'll get up next to him and he'll just stall out. He did a good job there of timing it off the corner. He's actually able to stay side by side. You'll see Dano Brookins go to the high side and may be able to get up behind these guys, and we're going to be nose for nose here at the start finish on advantage. Going to be the Joe on that high side. Now to the outside goes Trevor Malone, and 3 wide for the top spot.
3 wide indeed, and so we have Rick Music just behind these guys, having a watching brief, having a look and seeing what's happening, I should say. Now they go single file again, and once again Big Joe going to the outside there, trying to make that work. I don't think necessarily he's trying to overtake at this stage. He's just staying out of trouble, because if something happens to Vincent, Jesse Vincent in front of him, he's got some space to move around him. Behind him, however, the danger is that Trevor Malone will get on his inside, and that is exactly what's happening, and take away that 2nd place from him. And that, as I say, is exactly what's happening. So Big Joe staying on the outside there. There are some safety attached to that, but also some risks there, Evan.
You go up high, you let that guy by, but again, if you're riding behind somebody, it means you're checking up, and that means those guys behind you are going to go flying by. So you see Joe Poe's in line third here, and you almost have to try to constantly be moving forward as a defensive mechanism. Wow, Trevor Malone jumps to the high side as Joe stuck his nose out there, and that got very interesting. And now you see Hastert's going to pull the move that Malone put on him the last time. Look to the inside, can't get it done, and they think about single filing out. Trevor's going to use the run coming off of quarter number 2, and this is the racing that we're going to see all race long. This is pretty calm for these DW12s at a track like Auto Club Speedway, a track like Michigan, these big paved 2-mile D-shaped oval racetracks, very fast speeds, no lower than about 218 through the corner, and they're getting up there about 226 down into the turn. The league works on these custom setups. They're not the iRacing fix, but they are fixed. They host a couple of practice sessions, a couple of test races throughout the week. They all work on these sets together, so it's a good race package they got.
Guys, car on the move back here. Vern Hawkins, who's now in 12th, ready to try and take 11th, has really picked up a lot of spots here since that last restart. 6 spots he's made up, trying to get around the car in front of him right now, Brent Cummings. And Vern has made some pretty... and we got a little contact there between Corey Connor and Michael Gray. A little bit of contact. Almost a big wreck and another yellow flag, guys. As Vern Hawkins, though, continuing to make his march up to this front pack, trying to get himself into the top 10. Vern is picking up more spots now here, as it looks like he's about to go into 11th place and he is almost pulled that move off, guys. Vern Hawkins looking to get in the top 10. Got a fast car and is willing to make some bold moves to do it.
And we are seeing Joe back now in 10th place. So he's dropping back pretty quickly there. Evan, what's happening to him? Is he just backed off a little off the pace just to settle in, or has he got a problem?
Boy, just about caught the wall back a couple laps ago. It was lap 23, going down in 3 and 4, went to the high side. And, if you make a sharp movement to the right going into the corner, yeah, these things can turn a lot, but that thing's going to get real tight. And he drove that thing into the fence. And what's that going to cause is he's not bringing it down pit road, but he does have a little bit of right side damage. These cars are the epitome of aerodynamically sensitive at these oval racetracks. So he slid back to P11. He's in a big pack. He's having to be aggressive to maintain where he sits right now. And I'm sure he's going to want some sort of a caution flag here coming up, because you see no straightaway speed for that number 11 machine, even though he's tucked right up behind Vern Hawkins up in front of him. He just can't get to him. So he wants a caution here so he can get that quick fix out of the way, get back competitive, because if he stays under this kind of condition here with this kind of a damaged race car, he's only going to be continuing to drop backwards. This lead pack sits at about 9 cars strong, and they have 2.2 seconds over 10th on back.
Yep, absolutely correct. These cars, I guess, with any cars on an oval track, they're doing over 200 miles an hour. Your inputs need to be exceptionally smooth and calculated. Any sudden jerks on the wheel or any sudden movements up or down can bring grief onto you. So looks like going back to the front here, we still have that situation where we have Trevor Malone now having taken the place of Big Joe Hassert. Jesse Vincent just running immaculately down on the apron, not on the apron, sorry, next to the white line, and maintaining that line all the way. And as you said there, Evan, if you can do that and maintain that situation, nobody can really take it away from you. They've got to go around you, which is very hard in these cars, and in fact in any car, having to go the long way around. So that's the current situation at the front. Let's check in with Sean. What's happening towards the rear, Sean?
Well, I'm still kind of watching this battle here between Big Joe and Vern Hawkins and these guys back here. About 7 cars here, all mixing it up, and 6 cars actually now. But Vern Hawkins still making up spots. Big Joe still losing a little bit of ground. Cars bumping around quite a bit. Looks like he's probably got a little bit of suspension trouble on that front end, and certainly he would be very, very fortunate to get a yellow flag at this point, as he is struggling. He's continuing to lose spots and fall back. So an early contender there, Big Joe Hassert, having a little bit of trouble now, and again continuing to slide back through the field.
Yeah, and we seem to have 2 packs of cars at the moment. You got that front pack Then you've got a big gap, really, to Brent
Oh,
Cummings.
we got contact, guys. We got contact in the spinner back here.
Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, Sam Katakazunas on spinning back here got a little low and got into another car there. Looks like he got into him and Corey Connor mixed it up.
On replay, and you can see the action there, and a car came from behind them and made contact with Sam as well. I'm not even going to try that surname. Made contact with Sam, and then he got some damage out of that as well, spun around. So for Big Joe, Evan, this is what he was looking for. This will enable him to get into the pits and get a new car. Bear in mind, of course, that there's still a pit stop. We haven't spoken about that. We'll try and analyze that for you when we come back to green. But right at the moment on lap 31, probably way too early for a pit stop at this point in time. But certainly, Big Joe gets his wish and can get a new car.
Yeah, and just looking at the replay, on that wreck as the leader comes in the pits right now.
They're all coming in. Sorry to in there, Sean. They're all coming in. At least the top 10 or so cars all entered the pit. So I was completely wrong, Evan, when I said that it's too early to pit. Lap 31 out of 125. Can they get more than 100 laps on a full tank?
These things can get quite a distance, but I don't know if 100 laps is gonna make it. We have got guys staying out, so that would lead me to believe no. You got Michael Chin stays out, Tim Doyle Lawrence is out, Drew Motz, and Vern Hawkins all stay out. So we have what's going to be 1, 2, 3, looks like 5, 6 cars stay out. They do not come down pit road. Jesse Vincent going to lead the cars that pitted off. So kind of a split decision. The top 10 going to be a whole bunch of new faces pretty much, and we'll have to see if there's any advantage gained by those guys that had pitted this time by.
Very interesting. Lap number 32 we're on now. Pace car is out, so we are going to have some pace laps. Judging by the number of cautions that we've had so far, 3 cautions in 32 laps. That's pretty much 10 laps per caution. Some guys may be gambling that there'll be a lot more cautions throughout the race, and that they could make the they've got something like 94 laps or so to go. Certainly more than 90. But we have a new race leader. He'll pick up a bonus point for leading at least 1 lap, and if he continues on, that is Vern Hawkins III, your new race leader, folks. Stayed out while everyone else went in. Sean, we haven't spoken much about tire wear. On a 2-mile track like that, this shouldn't be a really big deal, should it?
No, not really. I think tires, the laps I ran last night, it wasn't having much trouble with tire wear. You can run pretty hard and pretty fast here without little concern for tires. I think you could probably run this whole race distance without having to worry about that, to be honest with you. But you're going to have to come in and you're going to need to get that fuel. You might as well get the tires anyway. But the lights are out on the pace car. We're going to get ready to go back to green flag racing here. Again, it is a single flag start. A single file restart. So we're going to settle in here and get back to racing real quick.
Yep, they are going up the back straight as we speak. Now, Evan, this is going to be a whole new group out the front there. I wonder how they can handle it. They've been running in the mid-pack for the best part of, for 30-odd laps nearly. And now they find themselves at the front. We've got Vern Hawkins, the third. Behind him, Drew Motz. Then Doyle Lawrence, your top 3 behind the pace car right now. So they're coming around the final turn. Pace car will duck into the pits. I will hand it over to you, Evan.
There's a lot of guys up inside this top 5 that started outside the top 25. So we're going to see how they like it up at the front of the field, and we'll see if Vern can hold on to that top spot via the low lane. Pace car ducks down, and he's in control. Hesitates a couple seconds here, waiting a lot longer than Jesse Vincent was prior. That's going to allow the field to kind of crunch up behind him. Now the green flag flies. We're underway, and he's going to open up a big gap over Drew Motz. The only thing that would hurt him there is that by the time everybody cycles back to him, they're going to get a good run. You don't want to get too far out.
Well, very interesting restart there, Evan. So Vern Hawkins waited until the green flag actually flew before he took off. And looks like he caught everyone a little by surprise with that move. Everyone was getting used to restarting the moment the pace car ducked off. But that's paid off for him. He's got a nice little break. Let's see how long he can hang on to it. We go back behind him and we see behind Vern we've got Drew Mott still sitting in that second position. Tim Doyle now in third position, going wide through the corner there, and now ducking back in, coming up on the rear of the Drew Motts. I had to back it off just a fraction there, but it does seem as if they're starting now to catch the leader, Vern Hawkins. Behind Tim Doyle, we have in fourth position Doyle Lawrence, and then a little ways back we've got Jeremy Guringer was involved in that incident earlier on in the race. How did we go towards the mid-pack and rear of the field, Sean?
Well, I'll tell you what that start did for the mid-pack and the rear of the field. It bunched these guys up, and now we've got some pretty tight racing back here. I just hope it doesn't bring out another caution here real quick. These guys are dicing around, and you know, a lot of these guys came in for a pit, so they're on fresh tires, and they've got a full fuel load again. So right now, anything can happen, but lots of positions being exchanged right now, and guys just trying to find themselves. Got a car coming into the pits right now. Didn't see who it was, but someone's coming in for a pit. Makes me curious as to why at this point. Oh, and we got a car on the wall. There we go. Another yellow flag. Car rolling all over the place. I'm trying to get back to it right now, guys.
Caution definitely out for that one.
Christopher
We'll have
Poole.
a look at the replay in a moment. We can see there we're with Christopher Poole, and he's on his lid at the moment by the looks of it there, Sean.
Yeah, that was Christopher Poole. Not a good time for him. He's taking quite a ride, quite a tumble there. That car, if he already got a fast repair, and I'm not sure if he did, he's done for the day for sure.
Well, you know, it reminds me of a oval race with, I think it was the Gen 6 cars that were running, where one car was tapped from behind and completely cleared the fence. I think, Evan, you were in that. It might have been iSuper Speedway, where a car was tapped from behind and went completely over the fence into into the crowd, so to speak.
Yeah, and once they get up above that fence, it's going to automatically kick them back to pit road. And I mean, Christopher, no stranger to the Indy cars here, runs a lot of the IndyCar Fix and Open official races. Got up into the wall there, and again, with the open suspension, the open wheel physics here on iRacing, when these things get damaged and they bounce, you see the front end comes down and it bounces it back up into the air, and he gets up into the fence and bounces off of it a couple times and comes back down in front of traffic after everybody had passed, but he was able to get it back on the wheels. There was nothing left, so he has to take a tow back to pit road. If anything, if he cleared the fence and got kicked back, he may have saved some time.
Well,
Yep,
you know,
and some great pictures. Sorry, Sean. Just say some great pictures from our director there about on that accident. So he'll be sitting in the pits. Pace car is out for the fourth time in how many laps are we talking here now? 37. We haven't got quite to the 40 lap mark yet, Evan, and already these guys are have got 4 cautions under their belt. But sorry, Sean, I did interrupt you when you were about to say something. Go ahead.
yeah, I'm not really sure what happened there for Christopher Poole. He was moving along just fine. He had Big Joe Hassert there to his left on the inside, and all of a sudden the car just kind of turned left on him, and he caught just a piece of Big Joe there. Big Joe was able to continue on without any damage, it looks like, but he turned down to him, and then it kicked him back off to the right and then into the wall, and well, the rest, as they say, was history. He began that big tumble and flying all over the place. Really unfortunate break there for Mr. Poole. Sorry to see him get into that action there. It's a shame.
Well, at the moment we have a quite interesting situation here. So Vern Hawkins managed to hang on to the lead for the whole of that stint, which wasn't that many laps anyway. Drew Motts also stayed in second place. Tim Doyle behind him. So these guys, once they got to the front there, Evan, they showed that they had a respectable pace, and the fast guys that were leading previously in the other stints, they've got it all to do now to get back up to the front.
Yeah, the key for them is they're right on that bubble where it separates the lead pack from the second pack that we've seen so far tonight. We've seen, top 9 cars break away a little bit, then we kind of separate into a lead pack, a secondary pack, and, on fourth throughout the rest of the field here. And they're right on the mark that they hope that they can get a good restart. The way that Vern started this most recent one, again, very opposite to what we saw our pole sitter, Jesse Vincent, start the race on, and that's almost going immediately. The control car can go from when the pace car hits pit road to the time that the green actually is thrown. So with Vern hesitating that much on this most recent one, and we'll have to see what he does this time as the lights are off on top of the pace car at the front of the field here. It's going to dictate how much everybody checks up throughout the field. It's going to dictate how close everybody is tightly packed together, and the way he did it, because they rolled bumper to bumper, they kind of had to hesitate a little bit, which spread the field out. So that's good news for Vern, because that means the further back those fast cars that have been up front earlier in the race are, better news for him. But we'll have to see on guys like John Downing, Trevor Malone, Rick Music, these guys who all started top 10 and sit between 6th and 10th position. Gonna have to see how well they can work the draft to get around these guys who sit in the top 5. And I mean, even if they can get around them, or if these guys are gonna hold their own up front.
Well, real quick, Director, if we can get the camera on Richard Bear, who is sitting in, let me see, he is in 10th place at the moment. Now, Richard Bear is our championship leader. We'll watch to see how he fares on this restart as we get ready to have that restart right now. Go ahead, Evan.
Yeah, we're going to get at it again. Race control, letting the drivers know they can't be hanging back to try to get a jump on this. Everybody's got to get tucked up, so we scrunch up through 3 and 4. Again, the pace car gets set to dive down to the safety of pit road. Vern Hawkins going to be in control of this field. Does he change it up a little bit? He's still holding the field back at pace speed of 70 miles an hour, and he'll wait all the way. Now green flag in the air. Goes just 2 seconds before the drop of the green. Mixes it up a little bit. It's going to get him a gap over Drew Monson second, and so far top 10, single file a little bit. We got double file around 8, 3 wide for P8.
And we had, sorry, Sean, go ahead.
No, just a mess here at the back. All these guys checked up. About 9 cars all just checked up, and I wouldn't be shocked if we have a black flag or 2 back here. That'd be really a shame, but that slow start right there really caused him to check up here at the back.
Yeah, and I asked directly the cameras on Richard Bear, who's trying to make his move. On the restart, watching Richard Bear, he got checked up as well. Didn't know whether to put the foot down and try to get through, or just hang behind the cars that he was behind at the moment. So he did get past Rick Music. He's now doing battle with Trevor Malone on the outside of him, and he's trying to move forward. Currently sitting in position 8. And really did move forward 2 positions. So it's be interesting to keep an eye out on these guys who were at the front previously to see how they operate from here on in on lap 43 at this point, Evan. Still a long race to go, and we hear there's a fight for the lead.
Teasing him. Drew Monts went to the outside lane, but again, just unable to do anything when they ride single file. The lead pack, and I said the key was going to be how quickly can everybody get going to form those packs. Well, this time the lead pack only consists of 3 cars. Hawkins, Monts, and Doyle have pulled away. They're a second gap over the next 2 guys who make up a little small secondary pack. 1.3 seconds back is Doyle Lawrence and Jerry Goringer, who are sitting 4th and 5th, and then 2.6 seconds plus back are those top runners that I talked about, the guys that were in the top 5 before they came down pit road. They are way back, and really 2.6 seconds back, not going to have much of a chance at catching all leaders unless they really get a long green flag run and they mind their P's and Q's and run single file the whole time, because if they continue to see right there jumping out of the line is Trevor Malone. If they continue to do that, then they're only going to continue to lose times from those guys that draft up front.
Well,
hey,
that's
guys.
correct. And so you got a pack of 3 cars there out front. They seem to be jumping all over the place at the moment. They don't seem to have the same nice rhythm that we saw from the leaders who are also the championship leaders that were out front at the beginning of this race. So you got those 3. Then you got 2 cars here, Jeremy Goringer and Doyle Lawrence in a little pack by themselves. And then you come further back to 6th place where John Downing, Richard Bear and Trevor Malone are kind of working their way along with each other, but trying to get forward. So, Sean, the race at least settling down. We're on lap 46. Can we make it to lap 50 without a caution?
Yeah, I think so. These guys are starting to spread out real well. watching Big Joe Hassard here for just a second. Here's a guy that was in second place here early in the early going of the race, got into a little bit of trouble. Big Joe is living proof of what can happen if you have a little bit of trouble and get some bad luck. Falling all the way back to 23rd place. Looks like he's totally lost the handling on the car. Can't seem to get any straight line speed and really having trouble getting through the turns. Not even really drafting well at this point. Just don't think he was able to get the kind of work done on that car that he needed. And it looks like it's going to be a long day for him. But, here at the back of the field, we've got some pretty good racing. Everybody kind of staying in line right now. And, I think we're going to get to lap 50 without a caution. No problem, Richard.
Yeah, I think people are slowly learning the lesson that trying to go too hard too early is not good. But, I do feel for Joe Hassard. He must have used up his quick repair because when he had that big accident, he could not get another one by the looks of it. So a tough day for him right now. But let's go back now to the front where Vern Hawkins, Evan is still leading and people coming up behind him challenging, but they can't take that first position away, as was the case when Jesse Vincent was leading.
And they actually made contact. Drew Motz and the 55, I do believe, actually made contact. Either Drew and Vern or Drew and Tim made contact at some point. But even though they're still racing it out, again, they are continuously pulling away from the field. Now about 2 seconds over fourth and fifth spots. We got another car around.
Oh, Corey Connor into him. And the yellow flag's back out, guys.
Michael Chin as well.
Well, there you go, guys. We did not make it to lap 50. Sean, so it looks like every 10 laps we must have a caution in this race, which is unfortunate. And we're watching the replay now. Cars are getting into each other, hitting the wall. Not good at all, Sean.
Yeah, that was a mess. Car started to get loose there, and he just couldn't get it corrected. And then, carnage ensued.
Yeah, we're on board there. We're watching Rudy Avalon. He slammed into that wall.
He got contact, guys. There was a huge run coming up by David Haggins and trying to make the move to the outside. And I said, you don't really want to jerk that wheel to the right because you're going to get real tight and put it in the wall like we saw Joe Hassard do earlier in the race. And Rudy tried to cut that gap pretty much as close as he could. It unfortunately did not work out well for David there. Or rather, didn't work out for Rudy there. David got into Rudy, and Rudy went around and then again innocently collected another car in that one. Michael Chin involved as well. And puts us back at a caution. We actually had another car that went up on his lid a couple times and brought it back down. Brett Cummings also going to be involved in that one. He caught the wall, went up on his lid, back it over. These things don't like to stay on four wheels when they get suspension damage. So 3 cars going to be involved in that one. Back to caution we go. And leader going to come down pit road. Vern Hawkins the third. How many guys stay out? How many guys come in?
Well, guys, these guys did not on the when about 10 cars who were in the lead pack came down pit road, so they are taking an opportunity for mine, Sean. It's a much better time to pit for them because it is possible that they can make it to the end of the race now.
Yeah, you're going to be good to checkers on this one now. I guess all you really have to do is stay clean and limit the damage here between now and the end of the race, and you should be good to the checkers. So I think at this point right now, it's going to be a race for position here as we go to the end. And, you'd like to think that maybe you don't get another caution, but if you do, you're going to stay out and you're going to keep those positions, stay on the track, and wouldn't serve you much advantage to go in at this point.
Well, it looks like somebody who's betting that is going to happen is Jeremy Guringer. He was involved in an incident, maybe even 2 that I can remember. He's elected to stay out because he's probably got plenty of fuel on board. Must have taken some tires probably as well. He stays out, Evan, and we'll get a little bonus for leading a lap here.
He had damage from an earlier incident where he got run over and brought out the caution flag, and he came down pit road because of that at about lap 15. So, has 15 laps more fuel than the people that had not pitted, all race. So he's going to stay out, see what he can do with it. I don't think that'll make him good on fuel, however. So maybe getting up front. Again, there are bonus points for leading laps, leading the most laps as well. And who knows what may happen here strategy-wise throughout the race. So get up there, lead that lap, because it's so far back, and you think, oh, these Indy cars, we're going to be in a pack 24 cars, deep, because there's 24 guys on the lead lap as the lights go out. But not the case. Again, everybody gets really spread out. You get separated into those packs. If you get outside of the top 10, I really think it's going to be a long shot for you to battle for one of those top finishing positions. We'll have to see. However, it all depends on how the leaders have dictated these restarts. When it was Jesse Vincent, he went right away, and we had 10 car packs. When it was, we swapped it up a little bit. Vern Hawkins was up top, and he waited almost the whole time till the green flew. We had a 3-car lead pack. Now we're going to see what Jeremy's going to do with the number 99 car up front, and that's going to dictate again how these other guys are going to have to race it out as we start to close in, or start to flirt with closing in on that halfway point.
Well, indeed, and the standings at the moment is very interesting from where I am sitting here. I've been watching Jesse Vincent and Richard Bear in particular. And these two guys are the championship leaders. Richard Bear leading the championship, Jesse Vincent in second place. Rick Music's another one that we want to keep an eye on. But now, if you look at where they are placed, Jeremy Guringer is leading this race. John Downing in second place there. John Downing is in sixth place in the championship. Trevor Malone in third place. Tony Lurock in fourth place. George Anzaldo in fifth, and then Jesse Vincent, and Big Joe's in there in seventh place as well. Richard Bear is in 11th place, so he hasn't made up as we see the pace car ducking off. Go ahead, Evan.
The green flying back in the air, and Jeremy going nearly immediately this time. He'll open up a gap on John Downing that sits about 8 car lengths strong now down into the quarter. Everybody in the top 10 single file. It's right at the top 10 cutoff where we see our first battle to the inside. We have the challenge coming from the number 29 of Vern Hawkins III. He goes to the inside on Tim Doyle. That is the first battle for position. They're side by side down the back for P9.
And now you can see when they go immediately, the pace car ducks in, get a much cleaner start than when you wait for the green flag. So everyone got away nice and clean, and they pretty much single file. And the battles can start after you've got a lap or so under your belt and the tires have got some more heat into them once again. Going back through the pack at the moment, everyone looks pretty clean, Sean, at this point in time. How is it right at the rear there?
Yeah, well, like you said, that start promoted a much better, safer start. There weren't really any incidents, and these guys have spread out. It looks like we've got like 4 different packs on the track right now. This pack at the back is, right now just kind of biding their time. They know they're at the halfway point of this race. Still plenty of time to make a move. These guys are all still on the lead lap, so there's still a chance to stay in this thing. You've had your pit stops, you got your tires and your fuel. So now if there's another caution, you've got a chance to stay out, pick up a few more spots. So these guys are all looking good right now. Not a bad run going on back here. It's like I said, just everybody's just kind of biding their time right now.
Well, that's right. And guys, folks, you're watching the LionHeart Racing Series. We are here at Auto Club Speedway. This is the final race of the season, and we want to have a good look at our championship leaders. Interesting stuff here, Evan. Jesse Vincent, second in the championship, is in 6th position. Richard Bear, leading the championship, is down in 11th position. 5 places between them, 11 points between them. So Jesse would be hoping that Richard Bear falls even further back.
Yeah, right now Jesse is having to hope that Richard slides a little bit more further back, and what Vincent can do is, in fact, we got real close for the top spot. Trevor Malone nearly misjudged that one. It ran over Jerry in the number 99 car. What Vincent can do is, he is leading that secondary draft, so he really can't advance his position at this point because he's a second plus out of that lead group. But he needs to continue to move forward. He knows that he can run 6th, and yeah, he may get it, but the best thing he can do is be up front, lead laps, and hope that, again, 11 positions is the key. You can factor in the bonus points for leading the lap, the most laps to win, and all that. That would make things a lot easier for Jesse if he was able to get the win, because he wouldn't need 11 positions. You could cut that down to 8. So right now, this championship battle, Vincent still sits behind him by about 6 points as they run right now.
And you can see that we're on board with Richard Bear. Richard Bear is getting pretty anxious there to try and get past the guys who are in front of him. He's just managed a pass on Michael Gray. He now moves forward. In front of him, he's got Kerry Corey Connor, I should say, and there's another car there, Vern Hawkins, who's fallen back from the leader after that pit stop in the caution that went by just previously. So Richard Bear really wants to do exactly what Jesse Vincent is doing and get up as far forward as he can. Now, Richard Bear, to my knowledge, Evan hasn't led any laps at this point in time, whereas Jesse Vincent has led quite a few laps previously. So he's sitting in a good place, Jesse, right at this point.
Yeah, it's all going to come down to those bonus points. And again, so close. You factor in that, and I mean, you're looking in the range. Oh, we got one car around down the back straightaway into the outside.
Car spinning wildly. Go ahead.
Wow, he nearly got nailed. They're still just getting around him. And that is Vincent Bluthenthal. Down the back straightaway was a P25 car. Trying to see, what happened to him. It looks like he had a little bit of a help. To the inside went Tony Lurcock and turned him around. And Bluthenthal went around and nearly got, well, he did get nailed, but I think the fact that he was around may have saved one of those machines because somebody just drove, phased right through him. That could have been a lot uglier. Yeah, that was ugly. He spun at least twice, possibly more. We're getting it on replay now. He corrected, then slammed into the wall, then spun a whole bunch more times. Not a good moment for Vincent Blumenthal. He did manage to bring the car to a stop, but he was right in the middle of the track. So that is going to give him plenty of damage, and he'll have to get a tow back to the pits as well. And we have another caution, and I believe now that is caution number 6. Am I right, Sean?
That's caution number 6 at lap 60.
Well, there we go. 10 laps per caution. So if you were a betting man, would you say that we will go another 10? Can we get 20? All right, I'm going to call it. Let's get 20 laps before we get the next caution. And I have to say, guys, some very, very good racing going on here. But at the same time, some pretty unfortunate incidents happening, Evan.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised, actually, to be really honest. I watched these guys practice quite a bit, and they had some good runs, and everybody, I was listening to them on the mic. They were all real satisfied with how they were running together and, kidding around and joking around. Everybody was in a really good mood, and so I'm a little bit surprised that we've seen 6 cautions already in this race. I think we're in for a surprise here, guys. I think this race, honestly, I'm going to go in the corner of this race ending on a long green flag run. Maybe we get 25, 30 laps to the checkers and get this thing in under a green flag. So we'll see here. But again, just a bit of a surprise that there's been so many cautions so far.
Well, yes, indeed. I agree with you. It seems to me, I'm trying to analyze what might be taking place, and it seems to me, Sean, that, this is the last race of the season. After this, no more racing. There'll be a break, no doubt, before a new season starts. So people want to do the best that they can and increase their position, the final standings in the championship. I think that's important for a lot of the guys. Having said that, though, it doesn't seem to be the guys in the top 10 that are involved in a lot of the incidents. I know Joe Hassett in 10th place was involved. Vincent Bluthenthal was just involved in that incident there. But other than that, guys like Dano Brookins, Rick Music, Jesse Vincent, they've continued to circulate with the minimum of bother. So it's not the guys in the top 10 in the standings having the incidents, but indeed some of the others. Richard Bear, how would you want to be in his shoes? He's trying to keep it as clean as possible, leading the championship by 11 points, got a good shot at taking it out, and he just seems to be going backwards at this point in time. Now, on this restart, he will start, Sean, in 14th place.
Yeah, a bit of a rough go out there for our championship leader right now. As I'm seeing, David Hagen's just dropped out. He's done for the day. It doesn't take much with these cars. They are pretty twitchy, And if you make just a, the closing rate, again, we talked about that earlier, is so, it comes up so quickly. If you make just one little false move, it doesn't take much to get that car out of shape or get into somebody else and bring out one of these cautions. So, whereas I said I'm a little surprised there have been so many so far, I guess I'm not entirely shocked because I know how difficult these cars can be to drive at speed. When you're doing 220 miles an hour, it doesn't take much to make a mistake. They're very unforgiving.
Well, yeah, and our director is pointing out something really interesting that I hadn't thought of. And we got the green flag going. Let's get to the front there. Tim Doyle will lead them away, and he takes off immediately. That's great. Vern Hawkins finds himself towards the front once again, takes off behind Tim Doyle, and Big Joe has it in third place. So it seems to be a changing of the guard yet again as we see Vern going up high. Big Joe is trying to get through on the outside there, does seem to get it done, but of course Vern will have the inside line and Big Joe will be stuck once again on the outside. Behind them we've got a decent gap to Michael Gray and Doyle Lawrence joining him as well. So there's a little battle there for the fourth place position. Sam Katakuzinas in the sixth place in a little pack there with the guys I just mentioned. And then another little break to Drew Motz. So 3 wide up front I am hearing with Big Joe and Vern Hawkins and Tim Doyle. We do not want another caution. Keep it together, guys, as they go single file once again. And Evan, I'm going to have another look at where our race, our championship leaders are. This is getting more and more interesting because Jesse Vincent and Richard Bear are now together.
Yeah, they started right alongside each other on that last restart, and right now Vincent sitting one position in front of Richard Bear there down the back straightaway. They sit 11th and 12th, and they're slid back in what's going to be the third pack this time. The leading group is 3 cars, and you have what looks to be 5 of them in that secondary pack, positions 4th through 8th, and in 9th is about, Trevor Malone all by himself in 9th. He's got about 1.5 seconds up to 8th position, and it has about a second back to those guys behind him, led by George and Zaldo. And I think those guys using the drafts are going to be able to catch Trevor and again become that third pack. But this second group of cars, not too far away from chasing down our leaders if they all stay double file like they are. Tim Doyle leads it. Vern Hawkins went all the way up to the outside wall down the back to get a good run, really arc it into the corner, and Joe Hassert followed him there. You see they really tighten up to the outside. They go 3 wide once again, just having some fun up at the front of the field. Leader that time by still Tim Doyle. Oh, got real close there as Vern pinched him down. One thing we have to keep in mind is you might not even have to pass the guy to win this race. You just got to get that run and have a nose at the stripe.
Well, that's correct. But, if I were in Richard Bear's position right now, I'd be quite happy that I have got my main opponent who's running behind me just in front of me. And keeping him in front of me might actually be, Sean, quite a good tactic. So you can see what happens instead of trying to get past him and having a battle with him. So we are on board with Ben now, and he can see Jesse Vincent right in front of him. Jesse, by the way, is following George Anzaldo, and so these 3 guys, they've got a little thing going there by themselves. Jesse Vincent in the blue car, Richard Bear in the red and black car. Nice racing at this point in time. We are on lap 69, so we passed just about the halfway mark at this point, Evan. And maybe, as Sean said, the race is going to settle down from here on in.
Yeah, we've pretty much spread out the same way that we have these last few. The leaders are able to get up there at the top 3. Tim Doyle still leads on that inside lane. Again, a couple of guys taking a peek. Big Joe Hassard up on the outside lane, not going to get it. Again, he may get a nose at the stripe on one of these runs, but I think it's really going to take something crazy, almost even a mistake from Tim Doyle that would allow these guys to pass him. Unless you get Joe and Vern there working together, drop back a little bit and go bumper to bumper, really try to back up that corner, I think Tim's pretty safe. We've seen the leader be safe on the bottom. They've been able to get to his outside 2-3 wide, but nobody's been able to clear our leaders yet so far today. Tim Doyle doing the same thing. He didn't even get a qualifying time, guys. Tim started back 29th. He sits up front right now. He's leading laps, and again, he's liking a green flag racing right now because that means he could put him in contention for some bonus points for leading the most laps.
And just back to Richard Bear, Jesse Vincent situation, it seems to me, Sean, that Richard has passed Jesse. And is Jesse going backwards? Has he been involved in an incident? No, he's running pretty strongly still. So he must have just lost positions due to traffic or something else. But certainly, this is good for Richard Bear. Now seeing that Vincent is at least, Jesse Vincent, 1, 2, 3, 3 spots behind him. So excellent racing from Richard Bear there.
Yeah. Yeah, we do
Doyle
have
Lawrence
there.
Sean, go ahead.
Well, we do have a car on the wall there. I'm trying to see who it is here real quick.
21 car.
Yeah, Doyle Lawrence up in the wall here across the start-finish line. Looks like he just got loosened.
Well, it doesn't look as if we're going to get a caution out of that one. At least not that I'm seeing. But
he got tied at 4.
At this point, it was Doyle Lawrence we're hearing that was in the wall there, right across from the start-finish. So no caution for that one, Sean.
Yeah, well, he was all up there by himself, so really wasn't in the racing line, and like I said, up there by himself. But I'm watching the replay of that, and he got into that turn really hot, and it looks like the car just pushed up the hill on him, and he grabbed the wall and stayed right in the wall. Looks like he kept that up there as to let those guys get by him. He's got a lot of cars down there, and probably cutting that thing to the left wouldn't have been a good idea. It was taking out a lot of cars, and so yeah, he's going to need to bring that thing into the pits.
Well, let's just get back to the front where it's getting pretty intense now. Vern Hawkins challenging for the number 1 position. Tim Doyle hanging on the inside there. Evan managing to hold on, but Vern Hawkins, the third, seeming to get a little bit angst going there and really pinching him down pretty hard as they come out of those turns. Although just when I spoke about that, he's fallen back into line. But a lap or so ago, he was pushing out. As he comes right up again, goes to the outside now. This is where he pinches down really hard, going towards into the turn there, and Doyle has to be really careful. But all nice and clean at this point, nothing illegal happening here. So some really good racing on the part of Tim Doyle, as well as and they're going 3 wide. Evan, Big Joe getting in the action as well.
Yeah, Hassett goes to the outside, and I mean, the action looks pretty intense up front, but this is probably the calmest 3 wide you're ever going to see because they know it's going to happen every lap. They're using that draft to see. This time, Vern realizes that Joe got to the outside of him. He doesn't make that move. Joe's going to be able to get into second, slide Vern back to third. They're going to be doing the same thing. They're going to be trading off second and third the whole time. You see Big Joe Hassett goes to the outside lane and actually puts up a good challenge. He'll actually lead it that time by the start-finish line. So that's the kind of move that you got to be able to make coming down to that checker. See, doesn't even clear Tim Doyle, but because he had it at the stripe, that could come down to being the difference between a checkered flag and second place later in the race. But these guys are just hanging out. I mean, they're 2 seconds to the good on Michael Gray, who was all by himself in 4th position. These guys just buying their time right now, trying to test out moves. I think what they're really doing here is testing the waters. You're going to try to, back off a little bit earlier here this corner, see what happens for you. Joe led that last time by. He didn't this time. He'll know 2 things that he did differently in between those laps, so take that into account so that when he gets down to those final laps, if he's in a spot to challenge for the lead, he'll know what works and what doesn't. But right now, the top 3, although they're 2-3 wide, pretty much just running around for these cars.
Yes, indeed, and we are on lap number 79 in the LionHeart series. This is the last race, we remind you, folks, and it is all on the line. So let us go back to our championship leaders for which I should say everything matters. Richard Bear, on board with Richard Bear right now, and he is currently in 8th place. Now, he will not be in a hurry to try and get to the front, I would imagine, Evan, because there's no one in front of him that is challenging him for the 1st place position in the championship. On the other hand, the guy who is challenging for that 1st position is Jesse Vincent. And we'll go on board with Jesse, and you can see that he is in 13th place, some 5 places back from Richard Bear. So Richard Bear in a really good place right now.
And it was just the polar opposite about the, the 40 lap mark. Now that we hit the 80 lap mark, he's been cycled back in traffic. He's not out of touch, however, with Richard Bear. They're still in this big group of cars that's pretty much from P7 all the way through about 17th position. All of these guys within range of each other right now. And again, Bear is actually currently leading that charge of cars. He's in a good spot right now because, again, when you're in the lead of a pack, especially the lead of the race, it's hard to get around you. So what Jesse's going to have to do is he's stuck in the middle of this battle where he's going to be working the whole time. A lot of it just has to do with luck of the draw. You can be all the way on that throttle and you'll really have no control whether you're going to be at the tail end of the lead draft or, end up 2 seconds back. It's all about the restarts, and it's what cycled him back here. And, he goes from making it look like a 4-point differential to now probably in the range of about 16 points separating those guys the way they sit.
Well, guys, and there is a new factor that I have just cottoned onto here. In front of Jesse Vincent is, in fact, Rick Music, and temporarily Chris Lanini has just got in front of Jesse Vincent as well. Now, the differential in points between Jesse and Rick Music, who is third in the championship, is only 4 points, from 11 points back to 15 points back. So, Jesse has got a new threat to deal with, and that is, in fact, Rick Music, who on the current situation is 2 points in front of him right now, and that cuts it back to 2 points. So another 2 places for Rick Music, or if Jesse Vincent falls back another 2 places, that'll put Rick Music on equal standings with him in the championship. So Jesse Vincent is under some real threat right now.
Hey guys, I want to take the action back up front here real quick. What was a 3-car battle is now turned into a 2-car battle as Vern Hawkins is started to fall off a bit, and Big Joe Hassard and Tim Doyle have been duking it out side by side, switching back and forth. Now Big Joe Hassard is starting to pull away. Been watching this battle for a bit. Tim Doyle, he was running that low line and he was stuck down there, and Big Joe couldn't get around him. And about 3 laps ago, Big Joe was finally able to get around him, and he got in front of him, and now he started to open up on him. So, interesting battle going on up here. Be curious to see how this shakes out as we continue green flag run here, longest one we've had yet this race.
Well, we are on lap number 86, and indeed, Big Joe Hassett leading this race, followed by Tim Doyle in second position. Vern Hawkins now quite a way back from the top 2.
Joe's coming down pit road.
Go ahead, Evan.
Yeah, Joe Hassett coming down pit road right now from what was the lead spot. He's going to bring it down for his final stop of the night. We hear a couple other guys that have been coming down pit road. They've been letting everybody know over the radio as to not get run over on that entry. Christopher Poole is down pit road. David Vieira as well. Vincent Blumenthal. A couple of guys starting off these green flag pit stops.
Well, isn't that interesting? And I thought that from the last caution, at least, Sean, they would have had enough fuel and tires to get to the end. So, not quite sure what's happening there. But certainly, Tim Doyle Big Joe Hassett coming down pit road from P1. So, that says that he did have something, a very good reason for coming down there, because it couldn't just be a regulation pit stop, surely.
No, and apparently it wasn't. Maybe we had the strategy a little wrong in this thing, but I thought most of these guys were good to the end, and that apparently is not the case.
Well, look, be that as it may, we are on racing under green. We're getting towards the end of the race, lap 89. Guys will be starting to think now, well, we've got 11 laps to go to lap number 100, and I suppose once you get into that 3 figures, Evan, it feels like the race is just about over. That 25 laps will fly past that last 25 laps. So, guys, starting to think about the end of this race now. It normally has the effect of getting the juices flowing even faster, if that is possible in a race at this speed, and the guys will be planning their strategies, because if you're going to make a move on somebody, you need to do it very soon because the laps are running out. Getting back to the battle between Jesse Vincent and Rick Music. Rick Music has put those 2 places on Jesse Vincent, and according to my calculations, without penalties and pit stops, it seems to me that Rick Music is now in 2nd place in this championship, Evan, as we see another couple of cars passing there.
Yeah, it's a very fluid situation. I mean, Rick is going to be 2nd one time behind. Jesse's going to be, 3rd the next time, and then 2nd. It's all shuffling for positions. You got to take a look. Rick that time by 7th at the start-finish line. He's on the inside, the 12 car trying to get around him, and Rick may be able to pick up another spot on Richard Bear, who leads the championship right now. He rides him on the bumper, goes low, and actually forces Richard up high there, is unable to really get the inside position, but you can see how aggressive these guys are driving, and don't forget, with all these guys being in a pack, although you got a quick fix, if these championship guys get together, not only would that be controversial, but it could be detrimental to somebody's championship run, as now Music and Bear get to go side by side for 6th.
Well, let's have a look at this. So we've got a 3-way battle just here with Rick Music in the middle of it. In front of him, we've got Richard Bear. So Rick Music keeping the championship leader well and truly in his sights. Corey Connor just on the outside. The Corey kind of making a dive to the inside of Rick Music. I think he will try and take that position away from him. Rick Music has to move up to avoid any chance of contact. As we see a car hitting the wall there, I just missed who it was.
I'm going back to try and
Rudy
get that
Avalon.
down here.
He's on his roof down there in the grass. No caution because he's off the racing surface, and looking like a big mess. We were 3 wide. 2 guys in front of him, Michael Gray and Drew Mott's going at it, and I'm not sure if that was a block, but Drew Mott just put both those cars in the fence on a straightaway.
Yep, that was indeed.
And someone's going to get a black flag
from that. We just got the replay.
Michael Chin went down to the apron, guys, and the way pit road exit is, with that commitment cone placed where it is, with Chin getting onto the apron, he's going to get a speeding in the pits penalty because he actually entered pit road unofficially on that. So Avalon's up and over on his lid, and Chin's going to have a black flag, and Drew Mott's the one that, caused that all by, making some sort of, not sure if it was a delayed block or just, slid up the hill, and nonetheless, he put those cars in the wall, he drives away, and it's the other guys that have to pay the consequences.
Well, yeah, we saw some really good pictures of that on replay, and certainly he is in the wall. If I'm the driver sitting there in that car, I'm hanging upside down right now. But back to the action. Let's go to the front, Sean, see what's happening there, where Tim Doyle has retaken the number 1 position by the looks of it.
Yeah, and Tim Doyle starting to open it up almost to 2 seconds off of Vern Hawkins now. And Hawkins just goes in the pit stop. Little surprised we didn't get a caution flag on that last wreck there, as we now continue this long green flag run that I talked about earlier, that we might get a surprise here with a nice long one to finish this race out. Tim Doyle continues to open it up as he's now almost 3 seconds ahead of Drew Mott's. And, you know what? Here comes our leader into the pits. Tim Doyle come in right now.
Mott's as well.
Bringing it in.
Yes, indeed. And stranger things have happened, but we've seen this before in other oval races as well, Sean, where, the first half of the race is a little bit of a catastrophe, and the last half of the race is great running. Now, with the 2 guys that have gone into the pits here, guess what, Evan? Mr. Richard Bear, leader of the championship and now leader of the race, he will get to lead some laps as well and get at least 1 bonus point.
That's the key, is he gets that bonus point. And the last time he was down pit road was right in the range of, I want to say, lap 62. He was down on pit road. So is he good on fuel, or are these guys also going to have to make their way for pit stops? But it's that bonus point that's so key. Rick Music desperately wants one, and we know that these guys have been able, we actually have been able to see a pass on that top spot. Again, we saw Joe Hassert complete a pass for the number 1 position, timed it right. Rick Music needs to get some timing going down, set up that number 19 car, at least have a nose at the stripe, because that could also be a very crucial bonus point for the Music camp.
Well, Evan, if the race were to finish right now, it would be touch and go as to whether Richard Bear would win the championship. And he would win the first prize in that championship. But Rick Music, sitting in second place behind Richard Bear at the moment, would actually be possibly ahead of Jesse Vincent. He might have jumped him, although I think that with the 4 places ahead, or 3 places here, between them now, Jesse Vincent is still hanging on to that second place in the championship. But Rick Music, if he gets by Richard Bear, I think he will pass Jesse Vincent in the championship, not taking bonus points into account. But some wonderful racing by these guys who we had kind of discounted for a while there when there were other drivers in front of them. But as they say, guys, the cream always rises to the top. And there you have your top 3 guys within striking range of 1, 2, and 3 in the race.
Yeah, and I want to talk about the third place car, Corey Connor. Okay, this is a guy right now who has probably held every position in this field at one time during this race. Kind of had my eye on him. He has been up and down the grid, and he's sitting in third place right now. And I'm shaking my head going, how is this happening? Where did he come from? Who is he? And how did he get all the way to the front?
Yeah, and the same can be said for Chris Lanini. We have not called his name once, except involving with cautions. And now we see him in 4th place. Isn't motor racing just the strangest thing, particularly oval racing? I've not seen this in road racing. Road racing tends to be a lot more predictable. You start the race, you either get out front or you have a big battle with somebody. But in oval racing, because of the pit stops and the various strategies and all the cautions, you tend to see a lot of funny things happening. And this is what we're seeing now, Sean. So Corey Connor, who's been called, whose name has been called for all the wrong reasons, on many occasions, now is possibly challenging for the lead. Well, he's in 3rd place, but he's got a shot at challenging for the lead.
Oh, absolutely. He is totally in this race now. And, like I said, who is this guy and where did he come from? But I mean, he's had an incredible run. He's been in trouble early, in the middle, and now we get this nice long green flag run. He's able to show his true colors as a really competitive entity out here. And I think, he's in the top 3. He's definitely got a legitimate shot.
Well, guys, we are on lap 104 in this race right now, and we are starting to get to the end. Chris Lanini, by the way, just goes into the pits there, so he drops out of that 4th position. And at the moment, leading this race on lap 104, Richard Bear. And Richard Bear is number 1 in the championship as well. Behind him, Rick Music, only a car length or 2 behind him. And then Corey Connor, who we just spoke about. And I have to say, Corey Connor running immaculately at this point in time. Then we have Jesse Vincent, 2nd in the championship, currently 4th in this race. Dano Brookins, 5th in the championship, 5th in the race. My apologies, Dano Brookins just gone into the pits there. So on lap 105, so he's going to lose a lot of spots if the race goes green towards the end. So that was your top 5 as I called it, but in fact Bradley Walters is now in 5th position. So it's changed immediately when I mentioned the situation.
Oh, and Corey Connor into the back.
Oh dear.
Oh, and guys,
Big
Richard Bear just entered pit road after the caution flag had thrown. I don't think that might actually give him a black flag. Joe Hazard's out in the grass still.
Well, this does turn things around. Bradley Walters came into the pits as well, and I was actually watching him at that point in time. But you're quite right, Evan, just in front of him, Richard Bear coming into the pits. Now, if he's coming to the pits before the caution flag flew, he might actually lose a lap, won't he?
He's going to get a black flag, and he's requesting that it be clear. And it's a tough break. Rick Music, in this championship battle still, just did not get the memo across, got run over. And Bear wants to get a black flag clear, and it's a tough call for the officials because the guy behind him, Jesse Vincent, had enough time to react, and you see, well, when Vincent turned right, Richard still had quite a distance to pit road, so I feel like he should have been able to avoid it, and race control just now telling them that he cannot get that cleared. So that's a huge hit to Richard Bear here, who is the championship leader. That could be the deciding factor in this, because Jesse Vincent missed pit road. He was able to avoid it. Bear did not. And that 19 is going to go all the way to the back, and Jesse Vincent will stay right up front as he comes down for the final time. Wow.
Well, indeed, Evan. This is it's incredibly, it's a 1 in 100 situation, Sean. But we have seen this happen. You come into the pits just at the wrong second. A caution happens. You either get stuck there and have to go to the end of the line, or what happened right here, where, as Evan called it, he got a black flag. So when he comes out, he'll be way down in the field. Luckily, there are still something like 17 laps for him to try and salvage something, but that's a hard hit, Sean.
Yeah, and Corey Connor, who we're talking about, was just having this incredible run in the back of music there, and watching his car right now, he's trying to limp that thing into the pits, and he's, well, as they say, giving up the ghost and taking the tow. That thing is just destroyed. Nothing to that car. Really tough break for Corey Connor. It looks like his day is over.
Yeah. Maybe the commentator's curse went out to poor old Corey Connor. The moment you put wraps on somebody, they tend to have a horrible time of it. So Corey Connor out of the car at this point in time. So let's have a good look at the situation now. Evan, you've done a pretty good wrap up already of where we're at, but Jesse Vincent is the leader of the race at the moment on lap 108. Richard Bear still showing in second place still, but that will correct when they cross the line surely. But currently still showing in second place. Bradley Walters, we'll have to wait until they go across the line so we can see where everybody really is.
Ooh, now this is not good for Jesse Bear, because we have positions 5 through 18 that are staying out, and they're going to get a wave around the pace car. They're taking that right now. That means there are going to be 18 points up for grab, as there are 18 cars on the lead lap. Vincent is going to be P1, and Richard Bear, I do believe, is going to have to drop all the way to the back. I'm taking a look at him now, and he's not being forced to the back. The lights are off at a pace car. That 19 should have a black flag right now. It's telling him to stay. It's telling him to stay behind the 98. He's going to be second place. He should, though, be black flagged and should receive what is typical in iRacing to be an end of a longest line penalty. So I was going to say, well, he should be in 18th position right now, but somehow, he has worked some sort of witchcraft on the iRacing automatic penalty system, and he's going to be in the number 2 spot. And I don't know if that's a mistake of some sort, but because of that, his championship has just been saved by some sort of Hail Mary. No idea how that 19's still being scored second. He's being told to restart there. The pace car's dropping off. We're going back green. We'll have to see if he gets a black flag.
Well, as you say, the pace car's just gone in. We're on green, and Jesse Vincent takes off. Richard Bear, we'll find out in a lap's time whether indeed he has the black flag, but having said that, they do have live admins running the show here during the course of the race, so they could have intervened, Evan, to save his championship chances. But certainly on the outside, we have a second line developing there now, something like we see in regulation oval racing with the Gen 6 cars or trucks or whatever, forming 2 lines now. And Richard Bear loses a position or 2 in that encounter, but looks like he's still racing, Evan, in that position. No sign of him coming into the pits to clear a black flag or penalty of any description. So I'd say he's got away with it.
Oh, we got lap cars slow. Look out to the high side. Oh, nearly contact. That was way too close for comfort with Bradley Walters. And if you're the driver, the 98 of Jesse Vincent, you got to be pretty mad because, common sense would state that Richard Bear should have been EOL'd for that. If you're Richard Bear, you're counting your blessings here because he just had his championship saved by something. He is able to stay right now, and what is going to be P2 caution flag now out once again.
Caution flag flies for an incident. We were watching the action at the front there. Sean, have you seen perhaps what happened there? No doubt the director will have caught that. We'll get that on replay in a minute.
Honestly, I was watching what happened between John Downing and
Michael
Vern Hawkins
Whitman
on the restart. They got into it, and they got out of shape here on the back of the track.
It started with Sam Karakuznis, guys. The number 12 car got sent around, and he went to make a move. Went to make a move to the inside, and I think he may have caught the back end of the number 99 car. That 99 just spun right in front of him. Both those cars went around, and huge impact as Michael Whitman came into that one, became airborne, got up into the fencing, came back down. Caution will fly from that. That happened in 1 and 2.
And we did see that on replay, and a lot of smoke, car slamming into the wall very hard, coming back across once again. That is just a very, very hard hit there. And you can see it all now. Michael Whitman struggling as well on his lid at the moment. And ugly stuff right there on lap number 113 it was, or 112. So, now, guys, we still can't figure out this Jesse Vincent, the Richard Bear situation. Maybe we've got it wrong completely. Maybe he didn't get a black flag. We will find out after the race if we do indeed get to talk to him. But back to the live action right now. Jesse Vincent, 2 in the championship, leading the race. Richard Bear leading the championship, 2nd in the race. Then we've got Bradley Walters in 3rd place, as we will be getting ready for a restart soon. I better check on that. The lights are still on the pace car, so we at least will be going around another lap. Trevor Malone at this point sitting in... Why am I seeing Trevor Malone so high up? Something not right there. Bradley Walters, he was 3rd, that is correct. So behind him, Bradley, then Rick Music. That's the gentleman I wanted to speak about. So Rick Music, 3rd in the championship. He is in 4th place. So really the top 3 right there, Evan, at the pointy end of the field.
And this is going to be still very interesting. The lights are still on the pace car. So still at least one more time around again. And I was going to mention that, iRacing without green, white checkers, it's irrelevant because the IndyCar Series does not... there's no overtime. You're going to go to the distance. So this race could end under a caution flag period, depending on when we go back green here in this 125-lap affair. We may have a window for one more yellow, but once you get down to about 4 laps to go, if a caution were to fly at that point, it does going to end under yellow flag conditions. Again, still can't quite understand the number 19 machine because, again, clearly came down after it, and he had told race officials that he had gotten a black flag. He requested it to be cleared. Race officials told him that, unfortunately, via their rules and whatnot, they could not do that. And they confirmed to him, they let him know that he's going to be cycled to the back of the pack. And then when the wave rounds went around, the sim told him to stay right where he was, which would typically be the point that it would tell him to drop back. And, I mean, just very, very strange incident. And race control obviously is keeping a look at what's going on there, but they let iRacing handle it. And, I mean, should have been black flagged. He had it. And I don't know if it had something to do with the lap cars staying out, getting the wave rounds, if that somehow messed with the scoring. But, I mean, knowing my luck, I would have been sent to the rear, but who knows? Maybe Richard Bear catching a break here, and it could be the difference between that championship and, being on the outside looking in right now.
Well, I think it's got something to do with the fact that his name is Richard. So,
That's a bias right there.
Well, let's face it. Look, we'll find out after the race exactly what happened there. but we will be getting ready for a restart now, surely. Yes, indeed, the lights are out on the pace car, so we will get a restart. We are on lap 115. Jesse Vincent leading this race, Richard Bear leading the championship, and in second place, as I mentioned before. This will be the battle for the championship and the battle for the race. And Rick Music not far off these guys. Wouldn't it be nice for him as the pace car ducks off? Evan, go ahead.
Yeah, half this top 5 are the guys battling for the championship, but a green flag back in the air. Jesse Vincent across the start-finish line is your leader at 10 laps to go. The field is spread it out quite nicely throughout the top 10. It looks like everybody's going to be divided pretty evenly, and it looks like it's going to be a top 2 maybe pulling away as Richard Bear chases Vincent at a 2.
And just dropping back places to Rick Music. Rick coming up onto the rear of Bradley Walters, and he will be trying to take that position away, which would make it 1, 2, 3 for the 1, 2, 3 places in the championship. He's still got it all to do, though, as we see Bradley Walters going to the outside of Richard Bear. He's got a streak happening there because he flies right past Richard Bear, and now is actually challenging on the outside, though, for the lead. Rick Music has passed Richard Bear as well, and once again, Evan, Jesse Vincent now in the box seat, sitting on that low line and hanging on there, but on his outside, Bradley Walters came from nowhere to take over the second position. And well, he didn't come from nowhere. He was in third place, but he flew past Richard Bear, who now comes back at him. Rick Music also passed Richard Bear. The top 3 spots has changed around, and Richard Bear not too concerned, I would imagine, because they can't take this championship from him if things stay the way that they are right now.
We had trouble on that restart. John Downey not happy at all with Vern Hawkins, who did not get going, was really slow, and it actually forced John into a black flag, and Vern's taking it behind the wall. They exchanged some heated comments over the radio, and those guys are now going to be shuffled back multiple laps down. Meanwhile, there are 4 cars that are in this battle for the top spot. Going to be 5 laps to go the next time around. Bradley Walters closes the bumper. He goes to the apron. Hey, it's a white line, not a yellow one. Trying to make it work, and gets the door shut as Vincent cut down to the left to shut the door.
Well, race control might look at that because there's in the rules, which I did read from beginning to end, there was mention made, I should say, of driving on the apron not allowed, as far as I remember reading. And Richard Bear now coming up in that 4th place, still hanging on to the top 3 here, still within striking distance of maybe getting up higher. Rick Music in 3rd place. Bradley Walters, a great drive from him late in the race on lap 120. And of course, Jesse Vincent currently leading this race. Great drive from him as well. Bradley trying that same tactic that he did when he got past Richard Bear. And Rick Music on the outside as well. So these guys battling hard now to try and finish off this race in style, Evan.
And no need for Richard Bear to rather get up into that mess with Jesse Vincent or Rick Music, because right now he's going to be the champion. If he stays where he is right now, he has to be careful that these guys don't wreck and he gets caught up in it, but he's not getting involved in that 3-1. He's just minding his own business, trying to make it to the checker flag. And
just looking back from him, Michael Gray was in the 4th position, now being challenged and passed by Tony Lercock. So a change for position from 4th onwards as well. Michael just hanging on there, just deciding not to do anything silly, and now goes back to the inside again. These guys playing the game that we saw before, where one will take the place and go high, and the other one will slot in on the low line. But back to the front here as the laps run out on 122. Richard Bear just sitting behind these guys, not keen to make any sort of a move at all. The guy who's trying to make the move is Bradley Walters, trying to win this race from Jesse Vincent, but Jesse Vincent will have none of it. He's hanging on to that low line as if his life depended on it. Now we see a move once again from Bradley, but you can't get it done from the outside. He's got to fall back into line once again. And let's just check in with Sean as we are on the When they cross the line now, there'll be only 2 laps to go. Sean, anything to report?
Yeah, nice battle back here. Kristen Nelson trying to get a top 10 finish in that Dominatrix Motorsports machine. Looks like she might be able to pull it off, and she's sitting in 10th place right now. But nice little 5-car battle going on right there. Cars trying to get in that top 10.
And we are coming down to the last lap. Our cameras are firmly on the top 4 drivers at the moment. Still Jesse Vincent, Bradley Walters still in second place. Now we see Richard Bear making a move on the outside there. He can't get it done from there. This is the last lap, Evan. We will give you the honor of calling the last few meters in this last lap.
Well, we're 3 wide for third. We're side by side for the top spot. Bradley Walters to the outside. Jesse Vincent, the preferred lane. Does anybody have anything for him? Can Rick Music steal it to the outside? Both of them try to look. They're not going to have enough time. Contact, checkered flag in the air. Jesse Vincent going to take home the win.
Well, what a finish. Jesse Vincent takes home the win there. And we have George Anzalado. We are hearing information that he's on his roof as well. We're getting a replay of that as everyone else is finishing the race at this point in time. Let's find out what happened there, Sean.
Yeah, I'm watching George right now. It looks like, he made a move across the track, and it didn't pay off for him. Got into another car, and on his lid.
Dear, oh dear, not the finish he would have hoped for. What about that finish up front there, Evan?
They did what they could, and it was Bradley Walters. He made the move too soon. When he did, he went to the outside, and what he would have wanted to do was in the middle of the corner, duck back in behind Jesse, and time that draft so he could duck out of line right out of the corner. Problem for him was Rick Music played spoiler and pulled down there to the inside lane, did not give him that opportunity. And, Walters, he came over the radio and said, I tried every dirty move in the book on you, and he still were able to hold me off. So he gave props to Jesse Vincent for that checkered flag, and they nearly wrecked each other going for it. But the 98 guy's going to get race win number 6 on the year. However, he will come up short, and the season champion is going to go to Richard Bear.
Well, we don't know that for sure at this point in time. We believe that will be the case because of that 11-point lead going into this race. One would imagine that he will go with the championship. It's a little toss-up still between Jesse Vincent and Rick Music. Rick Music finished in 3rd place on the normal points allocated for the race. Certainly, Jesse Vincent will indeed take the 2nd place in the championship, and Rick Music in 3rd place. But there are bonus points. There may well be penalties that come into it as well. So we really don't know. We will have to find that out. But everyone at this point in time will have finished the race. You know what, guys? We never took a single break during the whole of this broadcast. Let's go to a break right now. And when we come back, we'll give you the full standings, and then we'll do some driver interviews. Back soon. Welcome back, folks, to the LionHeart Racing Series. Well, I tell you what, guys, we saw a fantastic race. I was excited throughout the race, but certainly the finish was absolutely marvelous. The standings as we finished, let's go through that first. And Evan, why don't you go ahead and give us the top 10 there?
It would be Jesse Vincent who would take home the checkered flag, and with all of those bonus points would be able to lock up the championship by just 1 point. He'd get over Bradley Walters, who would come home in second. Rick Music with a third place result. Anthony Lurcock in fourth, and fifth would go to Michael Gray. Richard Bear, who played it conservative, was fourth at the stripe. That would have been he was fourth at the white flag. That would have been good enough for the championship. He was sixth. When it was all said and done, that's not good enough. He'll finish second overall, sixth place tonight. Drew Mott, seventh. Eighth position to Tim Doyle. Chris Lanani in ninth. And Krista Nelson would round out the top 10.
And Sean, the rest of the pack from 10 to 20?
Yeah, and we had Robert Bluen finishing up in 11th, Dano Brookins in 12th, Jeremy Geringer in 13th, George Anzaldo in 14th, Sam Catacuzinos in 15th, 16th, Mike Chin. Tough race for Corey Connor, up and down the field, almost got a great finish. 17th for Corey Connor, Trevor Malone in 18th, John Downing in 19th, and rounding out 20th spot there, Vern Hawkins. Tough race for him also.
Yeah, he had some good moments and some bad moments, did Vern. In 21st place, we had Michael Whitman. Big Joe Hassett in 22nd place. Rudy Avalon in 23rd. Doyle Lawrence in 24th. David Hagens in 25th. Vincent Bluthenthal in 26th. Christopher Paul, then Brent Cummings, Jason Bunch. These are guys who did not finish, unfortunately. David Vieira and Thomas Engel. As I said, Evan, a great race at the end of it. Some nasty stuff in the early part of the race when we had lots of cautions. We were having one on average in every 10 laps. Then we settled down after about lap 60 it was, into a long green flag stint, and then that very exciting finish there. So all good. Now we do have our race winner, and indeed our championship winner, in the booth with us at the moment. So let's have a chat with Jesse Vincent. Jesse, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Jesse, just tell us how how excited you feel at this moment.
Don't think I can explain it.
Really? I mean, you have been the standout, according to George. For most of the season, you've won the most races, 6, I believe. So you were a force to be reckoned with. But to win this race and to win the championship, as we will hear from George in a minute, by 1 point, how good is that?
It's pretty good. Let's put it this way. I'm wearing a heart monitor right now, and I gotta go do a stress test in the morning. I'm thinking about just having him pull the data from tonight, because my heart is pounding.
Look, tell us a little bit, going back to the early part of the race when there were all those cautions. You were in front. I recall that you led a whole bunch of laps right at the beginning of the race, and then you kind of fell back. You had your troubles as well. What were you thinking when you were running towards the back there and thinking, wow, where am I now in the championship standings, and getting to how do I get to the front, sort of thing?
Thoughts I was thinking I probably can't say here. Thinking about what was going to happen in the standings, I was not very optimistic. Honestly, coming into the race, I know Richard, I know how strong he is, and especially in the ovals, I had only a half-hearted hope of winning the championship, and I honestly didn't think that this was going to happen.
Well, my friend, you did a great job, and going now towards the end, after that one caution towards the end of the race there, you find yourself in first place. What were your thoughts then, thinking, can I hang on to this, or will I give it up and just play it safe? What were your thoughts?
Oh no, I was going for the win. Like I said, I mean, I assumed that Richard was in second, so it's like if he's right behind me, he's gonna win the championship. The caution that got me was the second to the last one, when Richard had just pulled into the pits and I was pulling in behind him, and the caution comes out, and I drive through the grass, not go into the pits. That's the one that got me.
Well, I tell you what, we really wanted to Richard because there was an incident there where he got black flagged and he was asking for black flags to be cleared, etc. Something strange happened there because he had this black flag, but he stayed in that second position. However, that is not your problem. Your problem now is going to have a quiet drink, if that's what you do, with your family, and celebrate the fact that you not only won this final race, but are walking away with a championship that consisted of 16 races, and here you are, and you have the championship right in the bag.
Thank you.
All right, Jesse. Well, look, thank you so much for. Okay, at this, I was just going to say thanks for talking to us, but don't go away, Jesse. We've got George Anzaldo right here with us. George is going to tell us about a little more about the championship and also about the situation with prizes, etc. Go ahead, George.
Okay, well, as you know, it's been a long, hard-fought season, and we did definitely want to do a few things special for our drivers. There's purses through the top 5, and also for the top 3, there's actually plaques that are going to be created with special certificates that are going to be printed up and personalized and put down on a large oak plaque and then covered with Lexan, so that these top 3 drivers can actually hang that up and have something to be proud of. Also, there is a poster that's going to be donated to the winner by Sim Posters. It's going to be an 18 by 24 inch poster of the winner, well, Jesse's choosing, and that will be printed up and also shipped out to Jesse. But we also had one other interesting award that we did this season, and that was the Cleanest Driver Award. Essentially, it was a purse for the driver with the fewest incidents, and that award is going to go to Richard Bear. He will also be receiving a plaque as well for that trophy.
Yeah, and we did see a picture there on screen of the Sim Posters poster as well. Well, it sounds like, George, you guys have a great series going here, and we were proud to be involved in this final race. It certainly has, I love these IndyCars, the old IndyCar I used to race for a little while, and watching these guys go around, tug the string in my hearts there. Congratulations to you and your team for running all of this. And of course, congratulations to the various winners of the purses and other prizes as well. George, thank you for talking to us. Is there anything further? Go ahead, Kevin, what we're saying? George, we believe you also have a new logo. So let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, that's correct. We definitely, what we did is we established a contest for essentially everyone on iRacing to design the league a new logo. And we had that out essentially about a month before this race. And tonight we wanted to unveil it to everyone. And the winner of that contest is Andreas Werner. He is a talented graphic artist, and we are just so pleased with what he created for this series. We are so proud to display this and use this logo for our series, and also we're going to run this on our cars as well. So again, he did receive a cash prize for it, and again, we're just so delighted what he was able to create for us. So yeah, that was what we did for that.
Fantastic, and we are seeing that on screen at the moment, so all the viewers having a look there can see the new logo right up there on the screen. It looks good from where I'm sitting, and no doubt it'll be proudly displayed on your website and in other places. Now, don't go away just yet. We have information that Richard Bear is somewhere close by, and in fact he is now in the booth with us. So I'm going to hand over to Evan Pisocco our young reporter to have a few words with Richard, because we really need to clear up that mystery that happened towards the end of the race there. Go ahead, Evan.
Yeah, we've caught up with our sixth place finisher tonight, and Richard, most importantly, it's going to be a P2 in the championship standings. We knew that you were fourth there for the majority of those closing laps, just trying to stay out of trouble there, and with all the bonus points and whatnot, Jesse's going to get you by 1 point. What are your immediate thoughts after coming so close?
I'm a little disappointed, but it's okay. I guess Jesse does deserve it, and yeah, I don't know. I let two people go at the end there, and I guess that cost me the championship. That was kind of a dumb move, actually.
Well, when it's all said and done, you do get 4 wins on the season, so nothing to hang your head about in that regard as well. But walk us through the scare that you had there. Caution flew right when you and Jesse were going to be coming down the pit lane there. He was able to duck out. You came down, and we're requesting to get that black flag cleared, which we anticipated and you thought, I guess, as well, would have dropped you to the end of the longest line and, may have shot your championship hopes right then and there. And somehow, by some sort of, stroke of luck or something, you were able to stay up in second place and be able to contend for that. What happened from behind the wheel?
I think there were only a couple of cars on the lead lap, and it did send me to the end of the longest line, but the longest line was very short at the time. I think that's what happened, because I think like 20 cars took the wave around in that yellow.
Well, it was an exciting race nonetheless, and you said you let 2 people go. If that race was 1 lap shorter, you'd be the champion. And racing has a strange way of working like that. It's going to be a P2 result when it's all said and done for you. You still get to walk away with a nice plank. You did get 4 checkered flags on the season here. And before we let you go, sponsors and shout-outs, anybody who made this run possible for you?
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't have any sponsors or anything. I would like some, but I don't have any.
Well, if anybody's looking, you got somebody available. How about that? All right, Richard. Well, thanks for having a word with us, and good luck here rolling forward. Again, tough break, but congratulations on the solid finishing points.
Thanks, man. Have a good night.
Well, folks, I think that just about wraps it up for us. May I add one last thing? Yes, go ahead, George, certainly.
Yeah, I just wanted to add is one other thing about our series. If you notice, the name is LionHeart series, and in case those that don't know, LionHeart was Dan Weldon's nickname, and our series, as you can see now in the logo, pays homage to the late Dan Weldon. All of our league members we're IndyCar enthusiasts. We all still think about Dan, and that's the way that we can try to pay a little respect for what he did and what he brought to IndyCar. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew what LionHeart stood for our league.
Well, that's fantastic, because it actually sends a shiver up my spine. I remember well the time, even though I'm not in America, I remember the situation with Dan Weldon there. So good on you guys for coming through and honoring Dan with this logo. And with your dedication to IndyCar driving. But I think at this stage, unless my director is going to poke me again and tell me something different, we have to close this broadcast. As per usual, we always thank a bunch of people at this time of the race. And to start with, we certainly want to thank the LionHeart series and the organizers of this league. We also want to thank the makers of the various software and hardware that we use to make our streams possible. That's iRacing.com, XSplit, Twitch TV, Audio Technica, Behringer, and Ava Media as well. Thank you to the team today. Kevin Brown, who forgave his dinner to stand in for Joe, who had some issues. We had Evan and Sean. Good job, guys. Thank you. And now we talk a little bit about GSRC. If you want to find out more about us, you will find us at our website, globalsimracingchannel.com. Go along there and you'll find archived races and race highlights. We're also on Twitter. Our handle is at GSR Channel. And we're on Facebook at facebook.com/Global Sim Racing Channel. Major thanks to Doug Beard for creating the camera sets that we use during the stream. Also, a special thank you to Eric Ekholm, who provides us with much of our music. You can find the music not only here on GSRC, but also in TV commercials, in movie trailers, on iTunes, and even Spotify. If you do like the music, go along and tell Eric where you heard it. His handle on Twitter is @Eric Ekholm. Also, Casey Lalonde, who provides us with music as well. Casey Lalonde has released a new album recently, and it's called Floating Rooms, and it's available on bandcamp.com. Go along there, have a listen, and tell him what you think about it. You will have seen during the course of the break our upcoming events. Don't miss some of those events. We are very, very busy at GSRC every weekend, and on Wednesdays and sometimes on Fridays we have many races. So go along to our website and check our upcoming events page as well. Guys, thank you very much, everyone, and until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on track.